Around 60 years ago, America adopted a new music genre, rock and roll. This soon changed music all over the world. Coming out of the decades of big band music and gospel music, Americans began to love styles that originated primarily from African American communities, including jazz, rhythm and blues, swing, soul, and boogie-woogie. In the 1950s, the term rock and roll was coined, or simply rock music, and it had a steady and consistent beat using a blend of instruments, though in time, guitar took the lead. Rocking and rolling initially referred to the movement of a ship on the water, and it came to describe the movements of congregations in black churches. Though rock and roll has been a variable genre, with a lot of changes over the years, and it has birthed many other genres, the trends that were set in those early days in the 1950s still stand. Picture the early stars, Elvis Presley and Little Richard and Buddy Holly, and see how that exploded into iconic performers and bands like the Beatles and the Doors and the Who and the Kinks, Kiss, the Rolling Stones, the B-52s, Queen, Led Zeppelin, Bruce Springsteen, Janis Joplin, Joan Baez, the Eagles, Pink Floyd, Nirvana, and Van Halen. More than can be named here, hundreds more, each icons with their own styles and sounds and hits. Rock and roll has always been about rebellion. Loud music, strong messages, flashy costumes and makeup, bright lights, hip thrusts, and hands in the air. Back in the 50s, it gave teenagers a sense of cultural belonging for the first time. The lives of rock stars have been immortalized and romanticized, synonymous with drugs and sex and dangerous living. Gender and sexuality have always been more fluid in the rock and roll scene, as many men wore makeup and more feminine clothing, sometimes very eccentrically as in the cases of Elton John, Boy George, Liberace, and others, and many women took on more masculine roles of dress and leadership, from Janis Joplin to Joan Jett to Tina Turner. Cross-dressing, androgyny, and even drag have found homes in rock and roll as well. Think of Prince, and David Bowie, and Lady Gaga, and Kiss. Yet somehow homosexuality, lesbianism, and transgenderism remained unacceptable in rock until just the last 20 years or so, when many performers started coming out of the closet publicly, especially during the AIDS epidemic. Despite many of the world's greatest performers being gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, these stars traditionally stayed closeted publicly, with deep fears that coming out would mean ending their careers. This week I will be exploring the same 8 topics that we do every week, one each day, but all 8 will feature topics and stars related to rock and roll. These entries are only a handful of the literally hundreds of LGBT people that have performed rock and roll over the years. I plan to explore many other themes in coming weeks,